Here's Brody Brazil.
I'm recording this on the final day of September 2024. We are one day removed from the final game of the 2024 baseball season, and my final day working at NBC Sports after 16 years. And I do this at the end of every 162-game marathon. I kind of make a season-ending video, mostly just to decompress and throw out some big-picture thoughts. Obviously, this time around, it's going to be a little bit different. And I don't have a script prepared. I don't even have like the typical bullet points to get to. I just kind of have some main topics here, so I'll kind of hit each one of these. And first and foremost, this might be obvious, but physically, mentally, emotionally, I feel like I need a few days. And I'll still have stuff here on the YouTube channel for you to enjoy, but man, I need to recover. This was heavy. At the end, this was a lot. I knew this was coming. We all did on the schedule and the calendar in the last couple of years. It had kind of been leading to the end of September of 2024 is going to be rough. If the A's do leave Oakland, if they are done playing games there after 57 years and more than 9,000 games wearing Oakland across their chest. I was so lucky to see 43 years of that. I was so lucky to make all the friends and relationships that I did through my job and this team. Unreal. Like the fact that I, as a kid, could look back at the 1989 team and say, wow, I got to know so many of those key figures and players. Like I could call them right now. We could have them here on the YouTube channel. And more on that in just a second, how I'll plan to kind of leverage this YouTube channel to kind of keep telling the stories and the history of the A's in just a second. But man, this was heavy. Saying goodbye to the Coliseum. Saying goodbye to Oakland as a major league market. I don't want to say saying goodbye to friends because that's not really it, but saying goodbye to seeing friends all the time. For me, whether it's a Dave Stewart who I worked with all the time, or Shooty, or Bip in the studio, or watching Dallas call games. Like all these things to me are just the end. And I don't know how much of an appetite I'm going to have to just even continue following this team, let alone covering this team as they move forward. I really don't know if that's in my cards, or should it be? I don't think so. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But anyway, I think the main point here is that I really have realized I've been going hard. And I've not been doing more work or abnormal amounts of work, but it's been hard work. People have checked in on texts and friends have and coworkers and colleagues, and I really appreciate that. The best thing I can say sometimes is that, these last couple weeks and really last couple months, as I've known my own fate and the fate of the A's, this has been some of the hardest work that I've ever had to do professionally in 25 years. And hopefully you think I handled it the right way. I'm not really going to change course on who I am or how I've been doing this. Another thing about the A's, and I mentioned that I just don't have the appetite to keep watching, but man, I would have liked this current group. And I know that sounds weird for me to say, I didn't like them. I mean, I covered them, and of course you get that attachment when you're watching a Brent Rooker almost get to 40 homers, and a Shea Langoliers almost get to 30, and Lawrence Butler, and I can't wait till Esteury Ruiz is back, and J.P. Sears is a solid starter. Mason Miller is, if he keeps doing this at this level for a lot more years, he's the next Dennis Eckersley. And so, of course, I was very encouraged by what this group did and what Mark Kotsay and his coaching staff with Bobby Crosby did. They improved by 19 wins. That's basically the same turnaround they had from 2011 to 2012 when they became the magical Bernie Lean team and went to the playoffs, shocked everybody. It's kind of the same turnaround they had from 17 to 18 when it was Matt Chapman and Matt Olson's first season together. In 2018, they got to 97 wins. It's a plus 19, 20, and 22, I think, each of those years, something like that. The point is, how am I supposed to like the team? How am I supposed to like something that is sailing off in the distance and has drastically changed my life and situation? So I would have liked this team, though. I would have liked these players. I would have liked this group. That's probably the best way to put it. I would have liked this group. This was a group that I would have been so proud of, and I would have pumped up all these players even more. And I'd still be interested, and I still will. I said this about Lawrence Butler. The A's this, the A's that, I don't really care. For me, it's like Lawrence Butler. I just want to follow that dude. I want to see where he goes. I want to see what he does. I see tremendous potential in him and others too. But I think that's a hard part to digest, is that I really would have liked this team. They're starting to do what they do all the time and regenerate. I think it's important to say that I want to stay close to friends in all of this. And I want to keep the Oakland A's community alive as best I can. Now, before I said I'll have a hard time maybe following the team and continuing that. And I think to a large part, we'll find out that might be true, or maybe there's some news to cover. I don't really know. But in terms of all the people who made it the Oakland A's, I want to stay close to that. I want to have people here on the YouTube channel. I want to keep sharing that. I want to make this not entirely dedicate the platform of YouTube or my social channels to that, but I want to incorporate that into part of what I do. Maybe it's a Let's Go Oakland podcast series or whatever, or a series of playlists or videos on a playlist here on the YouTube channel. Maybe it's something like that. And I don't know, maybe it's monthly, which doesn't sound like a lot, but over the course of time, it's 12 people in a year and great chats and great memories. And if it's the right people at the right time, maybe it'll be a nice check-in and something to help all of us through the process. And I do, should have pointed this out earlier, I do think this is still such a tremendous process. Like, we got the news they were leaving, and now they are leaving. But next spring, we're going to have the realization that they're gone too. And when you see highlights of this team in other cities and not Oakland, like, that wound is not, it's there, it's fresh, but I don't know that it heals like instantly. So it's a process. And like I said, I want to stay close to friends. I want to keep that alive. I've also realized what's really important for me is that when others ask me to do an interview or something for a documentary, I'm going to say yes every single time that I can. In a sense that, whether I like it or not, I've been around this stuff so much, I've followed this story so closely, the whole build-up and the breakdown and the departure for now and maybe for good. I've covered all of it in so much detail, it would be a shame if I just went silent and said no to everything because it hurts my feelings. Of course, it does not feel good to uncover and unpack this stuff and then pack it back up and then unpack it and pack it back up again. Doesn't feel good. But if it's the least I can do to keep telling the stories and explaining to people what happened, why it happened, how it happened, at least from my, outside perspective, then I'll do it. So keeping the circle together and also doing as many of the, like I said, interviews and documentaries that I can. And I know some people have reached out and I need to get back to a lot of people. I apologize. It's been chaotic recently, but I do feel like that's definitely part of what I should be doing. Oh, shoot. I got ahead of myself. See, this is why I had a whole thing on this. I'm ready to share the stories. So I won't go too long on this one, but yes, I'm definitely ready to stay close to friends, keep the stories alive in all ways, shapes, and forms, because I do think that is important. Oh, last and definitely least, I'll make a separate video on this because, like, these topics have been too heavy, and I'm not going to celebrate this here and now, but over the course of the last, week or two or whenever, I wasn't even paying attention, we passed 50,000 subscribers here on the channel, which is great, in which I will want to talk about at some other point, just not now. It just kind of happened at a weird time and spot. So let me just acknowledge it now. Let me say thank you so much to all of you who are already subscribing. And if you're not, hey, now's a great chance. But I really appreciate that. We will do something. This will be acknowledged. This will be celebrated to the proper degree. I will do something for all of you for helping me get here. 100,000. Now we're talking about the blowout. Now we're talking about the live event in person somewhere. But for 50,000, I will do something special live stream. I don't know. You give me some ideas. How about that right now? What would you like me to do for 50,000? Put it in the comment section below since you've made it this far. But yeah, I did want to recognize that and say thank you for that. More to come on that front. But for now, that's the end of this video. Thumbs up down below. That helps me, this video, and this channel. You know that. And once again, hit that subscribe button so we can definitely catch up again next time. I'll see you.